Picture this. You're at a friend's house for the first time. Maybe 8 or 10 people are scattered around the living room. Laughter. Conversation. The usual noise of a gathering. And then you notice something. Their cat, the one who supposedly hides from strangers, has emerged from beneath the sofa. Slowly, deliberately, she weaves through a dozen legs without stopping. Past the person offering treats, past the one calling her name. She ignores them all. Then she reaches one person, sitting quietly in the corner. Not calling her, not reaching out, she jumps onto their lap, turns around twice, and settles in, purring. Everyone notices. Someone laughs and says, "I guess you're the cat magnet." But here's the question no one asks in that moment. Why? What did that person have that the others didn't? Was it random? Was it luck? Or was it something far more subtle? Something the cat perceived that we couldn't see. A cat's affection isn't random. It's a deliberate choice. And science is only beginning to understand the quiet psychology behind it. If you live with a cat, you've probably noticed this. They have favorites. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's that one friend who visits. Suddenly your cat, who usually hides under the bed, is sitting in their lap, like they've known each other for years. And it's not just about who feeds them. In fact, the person who fills the food bowl every morning is often not the favorite. Watch closely next time. The signs are subtle. A slow blink from across the room, not a sleepy accident. A deliberate, unhurried closing and opening of the eyes. A gentle head rub against a specific person's leg, choosing to sit near someone, not on them, just near them, while ignoring everyone else in the room. These aren't random behaviors, they're consistent. Cats form distinct social preferences. Their choices reveal a hidden layer of communication. We're only beginning to decode it. The question is, what are they communicating? And why do they choose the people they do? Most people assume the answer is simple. Cats love whoever feeds them. It's a transaction, food for affection. Or maybe they love whoever gives them the best scratches behind the ears. And if a cat seems aloof, well, that's just how cats are. Independent. Standoffish. They tolerate us, but they don't really need us. This idea runs deep. In one study, researchers found that many people believe cats are less social than dogs, that they have fewer social needs, that they're not really capable of deep bonds with humans. 40% of people in one survey identified as dog people. Only 19% said they preferred cats. And there's this persistent cultural image. Rudyard Kipling's The Cat Who Walked by Himself. The wild animal who deigns to share our homes, but remains fundamentally untamed, unconnected. It's a compelling story. But it's also wrong, because behavioral science suggests something far more interesting. Let's start with a study from 2019. Researchers at Oregon State University wanted to know if cats actually form attachment bonds with their owners. The kind of deep, secure bonds that infants form with parents. That dogs form with humans. They used a standard test. A cat spends 2 minutes in a new room with their owner, then 2 minutes alone, then 2 minutes reunited. How the cat responds to reunion tells you about their attachment style. The results. 68% of cats showed secure attachment to their owners. They were slightly stressed when alone, but calm and relaxed when their person returned. They used their owner as a safe base to explore from. That's the same rate of secure attachment seen in human infants. The same rate seen in dogs. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Another study gave cats a choice. They could have their favorite food, their favorite toy, their favorite scent, or interaction with their human. On average, cats spent 65% of their time near their human. And here's the finding that stops you in your tracks. 50% of cats chose interaction with their human over everything else. Over food, over scent. Half of all cats given the choice prefer us. Not because we feed them, not because we open cans, because they genuinely seek our company. To understand why, we have to go back thousands of years. Cats were not domesticated in the same way dogs were. Dogs were actively bred by humans for specific tasks. Hunting, guarding, companionship. Their sociability was shaped by us. Cats took a different path. They domesticated themselves. When humans began farming, they stored grain. Rodents followed, and cats followed the rodents. A mutually beneficial arrangement developed. Cats got a steady food source. Humans got pest control. No one bred cats for friendliness. At least not intentionally. But something interesting happened anyway. Cats that were bolder, more curious, more willing to approach humans. Those cats had better access to food. They survived better. They passed those traits on. This is why scientists describe cats as facultatively social. It's a fancy way of saying their sociability is flexible. They can live alone when they need to, but they can also form deep social bonds when conditions are right. It depends on experience, on resources, on the individual cat, and crucially, it depends on us. A kitten's willingness to approach humans is influenced by their father's genetics. A boldness factor that has nothing to do with how they're raised. Some cats are simply born more curious, more confident. But that's just the starting point. What happens next shapes everything. How they're treated, how much positive exposure they get. So what does it mean when a cat chooses you? Dennis Turner spent decades observing cat-human interactions. Hundreds of homes. His team recorded who tried to start interactions, who succeeded, how long interactions lasted, and they found something surprising. The cat controls how long interactions last. When a person tried to force interaction, reaching out, picking up, insisting, the total time spent together actually decreased. The more successful the person was at initiating, the shorter the overall interaction. But here's the beautiful part. When researchers looked at mutual compliance, whether the person respected the cat's wishes, and the cat respected the person's, they found a perfect symmetry. If a woman complied with her cat's wishes to interact, the cat complied with her wishes at other times. If she didn't, neither did the cat. It's a relationship built on mutual respect, on reading each other's signals, on understanding that connection can't be forced. When a cat chooses you, they're not just seeking attention. They're testing whether you're a partner who respects their autonomy. And if you pass that test, if you wait for them, let them approach on their terms, accept their no when they need space, they choose you again and again and again. Take a cat named Luna. Her owner, a woman named Sarah, adopted her from a shelter. Luna was about a year old. For the first 3 months, Luna spent most of her time under the bed. Sarah would sit on the floor nearby, reading aloud, never reaching under, never trying to pull her out. Just presence, no demands. One evening, Sarah was sitting on the floor as usual, and Luna emerged, walked over, sat next to her. Just sat there, not touching, but there. Sarah didn't react, didn't reach out, just kept reading. After a few minutes, Luna head butted her arm, then climbed into her lap. That was 5 years ago. Today, Luna follows Sarah from room to room, sleeps curled against her side every night, greets her at the door with that upright tail. The universal cat signal of friendly recognition. But here's the thing. When guests visit, Luna still hides. She's not a friendly cat, generally. She's Sarah's cat. Luna didn't learn to trust humans. She learned to trust one human, the one who waited. To your cat, being chosen isn't random. It's not about who has the tastiest treats or the most comfortable lap. It's about who respects their boundaries, who reads their signals, who lets them approach on their own terms. Think about what that means for a moment. Your cat lives in a world full of noise and movement, full of unpredictable giants. They're small enough to be injured by a careless step. They're hardwired by evolution to be vigilant, cautious, aware, and yet, they choose to be near you. They choose to close their eyes in your presence. That slow blink that says, I am safe here. They choose to rub their scent on you, marking you as part of their inner circle. 50% of cats, given the choice between food and you, choose you. That's not just affection. That's trust. You are their safe harbor. In a world that often feels overwhelming, there's another layer to this. When a cat rubs against your leg, that familiar, winding figure 8 motion, they're doing more than saying hello. They're marking you with facial pheromones. Scent glands on their cheeks, their chin, their forehead. They release chemical signals. Signals that say, this one is safe. This one belongs. In the cat world, sharing scent creates a colony identity. It's how cats recognize members of their own group. When your cat rubs on you, they're integrating you into their social circle, making you smell like family. And here's something remarkable. Research shows that when a human is feeling low, depressed, anxious, withdrawn, cats change their behavior. They approach more, they rub more, they vocalize more. Not at a distance, but when they're close, when they can make contact. They're not just receiving comfort, they're offering it. Your cat may not understand your problems, but they understand you. They sense when something is different, and they respond. Not with solutions, but with presence. Sometimes the smallest behaviors carry the deepest meanings. But what if your cat stops choosing you? What if the cat who always slept beside you suddenly hides when you enter the room? What if the greetings stop? The slow blinks disappear. The space between you grows. This matters. Cats are creatures of habit. When their behavior changes, something has changed for them. Sometimes it's obvious. A new pet, a move, a baby, construction noise outside. Sometimes it's subtle. A change in your schedule. Less time at home. More stress in your voice. Sometimes it's physical. Cats are masters of hiding pain. By the time they show obvious symptoms, they've often been suffering for a while. But subtle behavioral changes, withdrawing, hiding, avoiding interaction, these can be early signs. Research shows that conflict with other cats is one of the most common reasons cats are surrendered to shelters. Up to 50% of introductions between new and resident cats involve aggression, and in 35% of homes, that conflict never fully resolves. Living in constant low-grade stress, unable to escape unwanted social contact, that takes a toll. Your cat withdrawing isn't punishment, it's communication. Understanding this also helps explain what not to do. When a cat withdraws, our instinct is often to pursue, to reach under the bed, to pick them up, to insist on connection. But remember what the research showed. The more a person tries to force interaction, the less time they spend together overall. Punishment is worse. Yelling, spraying water, physical reprimands. It doesn't teach anything except fear, and fear destroys trust. If your cat's behavior changes, the first step isn't to correct them. It's to listen, observe, give them space, check for obvious stressors. Make sure resources are adequate and accessible: food, water, litter boxes, hiding places. Consider a vet visit to rule out medical issues. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is wait, like Sarah did. Like all the people cats eventually choose. So let's return to that gathering. The cat who ignored everyone else and chose one quiet person. What did that person have? Not treats, not a special technique, not some secret power. They had something simpler. They sat still. They didn't stare. They didn't reach out. They let the cat come to them. They communicated without words what cats are always looking for. I am safe. I will wait. You are in control. The cat understood. Your cat may not speak your language. They may never explain in words why they choose you, or why sometimes they need space. But their behavior says more than words ever could. It says, I trust you. It says, with you, I can close my eyes. It says, you are my person. If you've ever been chosen by a cat, you know how quiet that moment is. No fanfare. No dramatic gesture. Just a small animal deciding you are safe. That's not a small thing. That's one of the deepest bonds we can share with another species. If you're curious about understanding your pet on a deeper level, the hidden psychology behind the behaviors you see every day, consider subscribing. There's always more to discover. In the quiet language of the animals we love.